Hello, I'm Jody Wolf. You're watching Expoz. We are on November 1, 2016, 1:32 a.m. And I have a ton of new news that I'm going to call it the axis of evil. And it can all be proved. In fact, it has been proved prior to each debate between Clinton and Trump. There was an overshadowing event that caused fear to come into America that would take those who would be watching these events to have in back of their mind what had come on your TV in the prior 3 or 4 days before the debate. And the last, as you all know, we had a Russian threat where they're hiding 40 million people and moving tanks all over the creation and moving missiles, and then the S-300 defense is all a lie. Every bit of it. It was all a Clinton plant. You talk to Putin, Putin denied every bit of it. Every bit of it. Axis of evil. Look, guys, this lady is evil. She's far worse than anyone could have thought. She is evil. And if we didn't have how do I put it? If we didn't have a critical situation lying before us, America and Israel, but yet time was not right for it, then God had to make some changes. Now, keep in mind, he brought Trump up for this time, for this date. And he did it before he ever created this planet. Everything that's in place is in place because not his planning, because he saw the beginning from the end before he ever created it. You just have to trust God that he can do things like that. And really, it's like you sitting on a top seat of a stadium, and you're going to go to a football game, and you're going to be the only one there watching it. You'll know every play. You know who won. You'll know the score. Okay, then bring in 74,000 people to the ball game and let them watch it. Well, God already saw the beginning from the end. He's already seen that. Just as he saw it prior to our creation. And this is why he brought Trump up for this day. There are many people in a list that if someone were to go and really search it out and just go that route, right now I know of numerous things that happened that God planned and brought this man up. Nebuchadnezzar. You go back in that day, he used people that he didn't like. The tax collector Jerusalem. He used people that were bad people, but to achieve his goal. And the list can go on to things that we could not even imagine. Possibly you being born for a reason. I believe that in every person that's ever been born. It's been for a reason. Trump, just like Richard Nixon, he was born for one reason. There was one thing God wanted him to do. And that was, in the Yom Kippur War, to send help to Israel through American president that didn't like the Jews. And he didn't stand with the Jews. He just didn't like the Jews. But yet, when that call came, on the third call, God told Richard Nixon, you send everything you have, and that's what you will tell her. And that's exactly what he did. He achieved his goal for being born in his entire life to be in charge on that day when Israel called America for help. Because God saw it maybe millions of years ago and saw at that period of time that, wow, there's only one person that would have done it, and that's Richard Nixon. So I'm going to put it down. Richard Nixon will be president during that time. And today, we are in trouble. Bill Clinton, in his day, he did NAFTA. He destroyed our country through NAFTA. Let me tell you what happened when a NAFTA was approved. Over the next 2 terms that he had, and then it was unstoppable. Here comes the Bushes. It was unstoppable because it was already in motion, and it would take an act of Congress, a literal act of Congress, to stop it. But you gotta try it first, is kind of the answer that everyone got. Let me tell you what we got out of the NAFTA. America, the United States, 70,000 factories. I'm talking about factories. Factories where dozens to hundreds of people worked at, some of them thousands, moved to other countries. And over 75% of those factories, guess where they went? China. 75% of the 70,000 factories are in China doing the things that we were doing and that we were doing well. But with NAFTA, we had to give up a certain part. In other words, that is the beginning of a socialist country. That is the beginning of taking out the captives. These are the people who own small businesses. And you take Ford automobile today. You think everything for the Ford automobile is made in one location? No, sir. Alabama, they make particular parts for Ford. You go down to Mississippi, you will find that they make a part. Hey, you can even go to Canada and see that they make lug nuts for Jeeps. So the wealth was spread to smaller companies, and that's why we stayed above everyone else. That's why we were the #1 country on this earth. But when you give away 70,000 manufacturing, these are factories, then things kind of fall apart. But yet, no one has stepped up to say, this is the problem. But one man, 3 times, and I got all 3 of them. I will not give you, sadly, I will write it down in a box of one of them, but I can't give you one of my sources. I can't. I really can't. But 3 times, and I'm going to say maybe Colorado, maybe Texas, maybe Florida, but 3 times. That's all at one time. Boxes. These are ballots, spent ballots. These are ballots that already been marked, and they're in cases. I'm talking about cases. You're talking about a moving van full of thousands, tens of thousands of ballots. These are taken from one part of Texas alone. And guess what happened on these ballots? These people that went in beforehand and voted, and they voted Republican because they want Trump. His numbers are 100-1 over Hillary Clinton. But yet, how is her numbers showing that she's got more? It's a lie. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to include a site on this box below, and you look at it, you go to it, and you will see it, okay? You can see that. 3 places where tens of thousands of ballots where people marked straight Republican, since it said straight Republican, and Trump is not a Republican. He is a conservative or other. Anything that's not marked conservative or other goes to Hillary. So if you mark Republican, Hillary got it. And you know what? That cannot be changed. There's too much right here. I mean, really, there's too much. And I wasn't even going to do a cotton picking blog tonight, but I just got it up to here. The axis of evil. 3 times Hillary has created false flags of security for this country prior to 3 debates. 3 times false flags. I'm talking about alert for our country. And our country is worried about that. And she's the one talking about she can fix it. And Trump's talking about, I hadn't heard of it. Don't you think he would know? Of course he would. Guys, please take this. And if you don't believe anything, I know you do. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. If you don't look at anything, there's one thing I do want you to look at, and if you do, just see the votes that are stolen, see the false flags that were implemented, and then you have a Putin that didn't know anything about it. Look at these things. Look, if Hillary comes in, we're goners. We'll have a rapture of the church. In the end, will go ahead and come. The final 7 years will be hell on earth. But we know how it ends. Donald Trump is going in. It's just that I'm so mad now, I gotta say something. He's going in, period. He's gonna win. He has won it. God has said he has won it. But I still want you to see what is leading up to all the lying that's trying to change your mind, either by stealing your vote or by lying to you and scaring you into voting differently. Please do that. And look for Trump. He will be our president. And open your doors and your windows, because your house is going to receive a bounty, a prosperity that you may have never seen in your life. You just never know. Jody Wolf Expoz.